Hi, we're live. Okay.
Hi.
Sorry, what were you saying? The sea is what?
It's so hot here. The sea is blue,
Oh, really?
like super blue.
Nice. Okay.
God.
We've had a bit of rain, and
Yeah, I didn't
I
really.
and weirdly, I have a crazy increase in my water bill. It's 200 ringgit this month.
Why?
Don't know. I think my guy is not switching things off properly.
Or are you finally watering everything properly?
I mean,
It
we
was not
fixed it. No, I think he's not turning it off properly at night.
Right.
When he leaves. I've caught him like 5 hours later. It's still on. Stuff like that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
the reason. Yeah. Okay, so today I want to talk about, because I'm actually planning this month's workshops. I'll have one for
Yep.
adults and one for kids.
Yep.
And for the adult workshop, actually, something I've been meaning to do is broadly title "How to Eat," but it's also it's really it really means how to eat sustainably.
Right.
And actually, when it's been in my folders, and I've been sort of collecting information about it, and it's actually an incredibly complicated subject because there is just so much conflicting information.
Yep.
And it's also complicated by our own situation here in Malaysia because we have other systems. We have religious systems. We have traditional heritage systems.
Yep.
And then we are sort of, and then we also have a lot of like information flowing through our social media and stuff about acai berries and that kind of stuff. So there isn't a very, I wouldn't say anyone has a very clear picture of how they should eat. I mean, I don't think I could sit someone down and say, how should you eat? And someone can say, oh, okay, this out of my.
I think knowing what you should eat and then enjoying that food is like two different things sometimes.
That's true too.
Because I know knowledge wise, I know I should eat more like green veg, less overcooked. But sometimes it's just nice to have, boiled spinach,
Okay, well, you've hit an important point, because at the end of the day, why are we supposed to eat? We're not supposed to be eating for pleasure,
Yeah.
We're supposed to be eating for nutrition, right? Is to stay alive, to stay healthy, so that we can whatever. And I think what's happening is, and this is the push and pull of the world, we keep constantly being directed towards this idea that we should eat for pleasure.
It's become a reward process.
It's a reward. It's like it's psychological reward.
I think it worked in the past where food was scarce. It worked in the past where sugar was, very expensive. But now,
many things were expensive. Meat was expensive.
Cream
sugar,
was expensive.
fat.
Yeah. Butter.
It had some we used to have some natural breaks, and those breaks have been taken away.
Seasonality, for sure.
Yeah. And then we've also been replaced by a very capitalistic drive, which has no real interest in your health.
Yep.
It's only interested in making money.
Everybody's just trying to make money from cafes.
Sure. No, not
bakeries,
not even cafes. Think about the 7-Elevens and all the shops you see when you go and catch a bus to go to another town. All those places that sell. Yeah, they're selling really, really bad things.
Okay, so this is something I remember having this conversation with Lyman and Janet, and I was saying that I kind of like Chinese food and compared to Indian food, because sometimes Indian food has a lot of spices and it makes you very dehydrated, especially when you eat a lot of like heavily curried meals back to back. And that contrast would be eating lighter, I guess, flavorful Chinese food, and both of them in unison turned around and said, but Chinese food is more processed because it's the soy sauce, it's the oyster sauce, it's the vinegar, and all these things. And it's not the traditionally prepared soy sauce and vinegar, because when you buy at the shop, it's already, they're buying the cheapest ingredients to make you the fastest food. So it's all about flavor, not about how to say nutrient density. So that was the first, I guess, conversation for me about nutrient density. And it's very hard to say what is nutrient dense or not when you are buying food prepared by somebody else in a
Well,
fast.
that's the other problem. I
Yeah,
mean, they most Malaysian families have given over that role to
yeah,
a
shop.
business, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they are themselves making decisions based on price. That means
yeah.
they're
It's a
not
double
really
filter.
they're not really getting a high quality meal sometimes,
Yep, yep,
and then sort of along the lines of this idea of eating for pleasure, and like we have different reasons for eating.
yep.
I mentioned to you earlier that I was having a conversation with this guy on my Grab driver,
Mm.
and he was talking. We started talking because he had camping equipment. And I said, "Oh, you go camping?" And he seemed to have quite a good uh, healthy lifestyle.
Yep.
And then we started talking about food, and he has 11-year-old and a 14-year-old kid,
Mm.
and he's telling me this really interesting problems he has with those kids.
Right.
How difficult it is to get them to eat things. It's like, for example, he says that his one kid will only eat chicken if it's fried, and will not eat it if it's in a curry.
Okay. Texture.
But I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, first of all, it's kind of crazy. It's like, how the hell can a kid get away with that? It's like I'm thinking of like when I was a kid. I had to eat everything on my plate.
Yeah. But see,
Right?
when I was a kid, my mom would feed us.
I
So it would
remember you
be
saying, yeah, yeah, yeah.
mouth, handful to mouthful, and you just
This
chew
is
and swallow.
this is until what age this is?
I think the whole of primary school, until I was like
Wow.
12. Yeah, because the main meal will definitely be fat. So like the lunch and the dinner, So breakfast we eat on the go because you have your whatever jam and toast, and then you're out to school, and then you eat whatever you eat at school, and then you come back and you get fat lunch, and then you do homework or you sleep or you go play, and then you come back and um sometimes dinner, it depends. If my parents make burgers and sausages, then we eat ourselves. But if it's like curry and rice and stuff, and we just didn't know how to mix it properly, and it's just part of um my mom. Just also, it's easy to clean as well, because if you're feeding everyone, then you're just loading one plate, and if every kid had like 4 mouths or 3 mouths, and
Is
it was more, it was curated.
that must be highly unusual, right? Who
I think it's not unusual for an Indian family to be fed. Yeah.
really?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And my dad was fed by his mom until he was like, whenever he goes back to my grandma's house, she'd feed him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. As an adult,
That's
yes.
wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And sometimes he'll feed us because it's his job, and then his mother will feed him, and we are all eating at the same time. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. Um, I mean, and then the other thing, we also eat a lot of Western food, and we
Now.
seem to think it's part of like you just said for breakfast.
Mm,
We actually it's quite rare to eat like Malaysian Malay. You have to actually be quite intentional and go and buy nasi lemak. Otherwise, it's
mm.
cornflakes and toast and
I guess it's the urban rural scenario. Because when I was in primary school, I was in PJ, and then when I went to high school, I was in Perlis. And there we eat more local stuff like nasi lemak or pulut or kueh or something. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I don't think that's happening now because now, I mean, I've been to like Ramadan Bazaar near my
Mhm.
house, and I never went again. I went once, and I was like, there is no Malay food. It's just tom yum,
Mm,
burger,
mm,
roti john.
mm.
There's actually no Malay food.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's all these sort of weird drinks and
Mm,
all these strange,
New things, new things.
yeah. And now,
Yeah, Hafiz and I saw nasi ulam the other day at the Pasar Ramadan in Kemaman.
yeah,
But we'd already bought other items
uh,
and yeah. And I mean, we don't really go to the Pasar Ramadan as well because my mom breaks fast at the masjid, and so does he. So it's just me and my niece, and then we just eat whatever we have around. And yeah.
what do you mean break fast at the masjid? You go to the masjid to eat?
My mom does, yeah.
Oh,
not all mosques do it. Some mosques do it, so you can. It can be a potluck sometimes.
it's
Where
like free food.
so if it's potluck style, then you bring something and you share with others, and then everybody else will bring stuff. So it's like kind of like a buffet. So you kind of
Oh, okay.
got.
Okay.
Sometimes people sponsor breakfast meals. So then
Yeah.
someone will pay for today, and then you eat whatever they brought. And then they would make bubur lambo at the breakfast, at the mosque. And I guess in a way that's the easiest way to avoid gluttony because it's portion and it's sharing. So
Sure.
then you would not overindulge in taking the meal. But if you just see people who go to the bazaar, sometimes they buy so much food that they probably don't end up finishing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that goes to waste. And then also on the bazaar side, they're producing
Yeah.
so much food with the hope to sell that it doesn't
Yeah.
get sold by like 7:30. So then I don't know. Maybe they
Yeah.
resell it later for the um like the meal before you close the fasting. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Sahur.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is, with this sort of the amount of Western type foods we eat,
Mm.
that food, I don't think a Malaysian truly understands the calorific values of those foods. Like a pizza or Kentucky Fried Chicken compared to a nasi lemak. I mean, I think the
Mm.
calorific values are vastly different. That's why we have a problem with obesity because
Mm.
I don't think we're being taught about, uh, portion control, how much we're supposed to eat,
Right. Right.
all that kind of stuff. So this is an issue, and so just to contextualize it, I want to think about it in terms of like, uh, you know, to eat sustainably in the
Yeah.
sense that you're eating because you're supposed to eat to support yourself, to live,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm.
then to do the work that you whatever. But what we're seeing now is some of our choices of how we eat are actually making it unsustainable. It's actually making us die, you
Mm.
know, and
Illness. Yeah.
it's killing us. So I send you that PDF that's about
Yeah.
the top 10 reasons
Yeah.
Malaysians die, and let's kind of have a little look at that. Hang on.
Yeah. I feel like food related is considered non-communicable disease, a disease that you cannot transfer to somebody else.
Yes,
But
yeah,
in
yeah,
some way, I feel it is communicable. You know why? Because you eat what your family culture eats.
yeah.
So fried foods and heavy fat foods, and you eat a lot in big portions, and you are eating with your family all the time, you know, then I feel that culture is communicable.
Well,
You
I
know?
think that's what I'm trying to get at is that
Mm.
that culture
Mm.
is not real.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like this shifting
Yes.
idea that is not based in anything
Yep.
kind of true in the sense that it is well, this is actually something
It's a
that's
construct.
yeah, but it's something that's already been raised, in that Michael Pollan book,
Yep.
in that he said, we you don't need a degree in nutrition to understand how to feed your family. A grandmother or mother can feed their family, and it's actually based on a sort of a heritage wisdom of nutrition. That means it's something that your family has eaten for generations, and you cook for your
Mm.
children, and your children learn to cook it for their children. And that has somehow been thwarted by this sort of globalization of food. uh
I
you know
think the life pace has changed so much that
that too,
mm,
how we live, how we're too busy, we or inflation price, we can't afford to take the time to cook or buy the kind of ingredients, whatever. So we're buying lower quality type foods, that
mm,
kind of thing. But in any case, so we've lost what was actually an inbuilt system
yep,
that was sort of managing the quality of our nutrition.
yep,
And we're moving into quite dangerous territory of poor nutrition, you
mm,
know. Uh, so just to go over some of those things. See, we have I'll post the list, but just this is the connector to the list about what how dietary nutritional
Yeah.
connects to mortality.
Yep.
So with cardiovascular and ischemic, you pronounce it, ischemic heart diseases,
Mm.
it's dietary risk. It's high sodium, fat, and sugar are the leading cause of heart disease,
Yep.
mortality, elevates bad cholesterol, and impairs vascular function. In Malaysia, roughly 68.9% of lost productivity is from cardiovascular deaths.
Yep.
Uh, 68.9 in Malaysia, 49 in Europe. Wow, we're higher than Europe. Can you believe that?
Yeah. No, also because I feel like a lot of our food is of lower quality in general. Because the fried food compared to baked food is baked chicken, roast chicken versus fried chicken. We eat a lot more fried chicken compared to roast chicken. So I feel like Europeans still
I
roast
don't
a
think
lot.
that's the problem. The problem is we're not eating enough, uh, grain. We actually eat it. There's it's a fallacy about eating the quantity of protein that we've been convinced that we need, because that is actually a capitalist drive, which is one of the criticisms of the new US thing. It's leaning towards the meat producing industries, you know,
Mm.
that want you to eat more meat. Actually, when you look at like things like the blue zone where people are living longer, they're actually
Mm.
eating quite a high amount of
Yeah, but what I'm picking at is the if you ate chicken and chicken in both
yeah,
sides, the same
yeah.
quality, it's how you prepare the chicken that makes that difference in health
That's
value.
not what makes it nutritionally better. It's actually the better meals have more complex carbohydrate. If you had more, it's
Yeah.
not it's not because you eat better protein that you're going to live longer. It's when you
No, I'm not talking about the better protein. I'm talking about
yeah.
how it's prepared. Fried versus roasted. Even that makes a difference. Because the way the oil is interacting with your food.
But that's also portion size matters. It's quite different. If we don't have to eat roasted meat for meat to be good. We just need to eat less, because we used to eat fried stuff and we were fine. We ate a lot of
Yeah, but
fried fish.
right
You
now
know.
people eat a lot of fried chicken. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah. I
lot.
mean, but that's because it's
Yeah.
amount of protein that we're eating, the amount of fried food.
Mm.
It's not the type of fried food, if you know what I mean. It's a quantity of that fried food
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to how we would used to eat
Yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah.
We would,
Yeah, I'm not arguing the protein part. I'm
yeah,
talking about
okay.
the fried part. Yeah.
Then there's diabetes, ultra processed food. So there's a lot of ultra processed food in our diets now. In I mean, Malaysians eat so much like things like Maggie mee and stuff like that too, which is
Mm.
kind of frightening. We eat a lot of uh, we eat a lot
Milk.
of bread. It's really tight. And then even that fried chicken, there's a lot of like flour. It's dipped in a flour thing.
That's it.
Yeah. There's malignant neuroplast, there's cancers, obesity,
Mm.
uh, even Alzheimer's and cognitive decline has a relationship with food. People who eat diets high in unsaturated vegetable oils, fish, nuts, fruits, and vegetables are associated with lower risks. Conversely, chronic conditions tied to food are noted as a primary driver of the 5-year life. I don't know what that means.
I
Okay,
think
then
with the Alzheimer's, it's kind of they're linking that to like type 3 diabetes. So if you eat a lot of if you have high insulin resistance, the likeliness of you getting Alzheimer's
yeah,
is high. So I think
I've also,
that's
I've
a new
also
linkage, yeah, that they've
I've
made.
also read there's a connection between probiotic type foods and the connection to Alzheimer's and other problems.
Right.
Which is another thing. We are losing the diversity in our food that used to include a lot more probiotic type things,
Yep.
right? Uh, Kidney disease, another problem. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'll list this because
I think kidney disease also has to do with the quality of water you drink.
okay.
Yeah. So kidney, what is it? What's the word? Not maybe it's strain, kidney strain. occurs when you don't drink enough water, and the water you drink is either has a high level of soluble calcium and stuff like that. So then it does give you a string of different illnesses, and that's why filtering water is really important. And then our pipes tend to be much older and eroded, so then the water that comes into your house, although it's very clean at the point of the plant, but as it travels to you, it picks up all these like debris along the way. And so it's quite important that we filter our water prior to drinking it. You know, so that does put some strain on the kidneys in general. Yeah.
Um, okay, so there are sort of this sort of global based modern medicine nutritional ideas based
Mm-hmm.
on food pyramids and then the US inverted food pyramids, which we talked about before because there's a lot of controversy about that, and
Yep.
I'll link to that. And then and then recently the Malaysian nutrition group association
Mm-hmm.
said that we shouldn't follow the new US one
Mm-hmm.
because it is uh,
Centric.
too meat centric. It's not culturally relevant to us, and it's not, uh, and so on. But I think that the thing is, I don't know how we navigate this culturally relevant to us thing as well, because
Mm.
that has changed so fundamentally over the last 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so I want to spend a little time talking about that because we are actually from different communities with different sort of uh, nutritional
Yeah.
cultural backgrounds.
Yeah.
So we have like Ayurvedic ideas,
Mm.
which underline maybe a Hindu family's system of eating. We have TCM kind of ideas, which underline maybe a Chinese family's eating. There are Islamic rules for Malay families. Uh, even Christian families like mine, it used to be. I mean, there are some rules and the rules have changed. Like we used to eat like uh no meat on Fridays, and
Right.
then there's actually some fasting that was fasting at Lent,
Right.
and then and then it's sort of baked in that gluttony is a sin.
Yep. Yep.
Actually, let's talk about that for a minute because
Right.
how much to eat is actually something that is a problem,
Okay.
which used to have more guidelines, right? Uh, so,
True.
like I said, in a sort of a Christian outlook, gluttony is a bad thing.
Mm.
Uh, in Ayurveda, there's actually guidelines about how much you should only eat, like your cup hands. You should only eat when you're hungry.
Yep.
You should stop eating when you're full, which is also something I've heard in Islamic
Mm.
guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Islamic guidelines, or that you may have been raised with?
Typically, the adab around food is it's always a sharing portion. It's
Okay,
never an individual portion. So because it's a
really?
sharing, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So that's why like the prophet, he ate from a single bowl, a single plate, and everybody would eat from the same thing.
Oh,
So as
okay.
you're eating, you're empathizing with other people who are sharing the meal with you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah.
And it's because you are in a sharing scenario, you're always mindful about how much you're taking, and by that communal value, you also don't overindulge. Because if I took two pieces of chicken when there's only one piece for everyone,
Sure.
then I'll be depriving somebody else of the
Yeah.
opportunity to eat chicken. So it's kind of designed around that. And
Which is
obviously,
kind of wild considering that modern day is about this
individuality.
and all you can eat buffets for Ramadan. It's
No,
the
but I
absolute.
also I also commend the matriarchs, because they would be in charge of curating your meal. You
Yeah.
know how much of something they're gonna put on the table. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. As
Yeah.
Asian kids, we're always told eat your vegetables. And it will never be the same way prepared. It could be a vegetable with soup, or a soup with vegetables in it, so that therefore less vegetable. A bit of fish cake, lipo sohun. And
Yeah.
then another day it will be a stir fried like leafy veg. And another day your vegetables could be stewed into the curry. So you get a portion of potato and carrots and I guess what's the other one? Ladies drumstick in your in your one scoop of dal.
Well, I mean,
So
this
yeah.
alludes to how we opened, which is that somebody had a kind of a knowledge, a nutritional
Mm,
wisdom that
yep.
they were they were the organizing principle around your meals.
Yeah.
You're saying that the matriarch, the person who's making the meal in the
Mm,
kitchen, is actually figuring that out.
yeah.
And whereas now there's less of that, and then it's just like unmoored, right?
Yeah.
Also, like for example, like with this kid that only wants to eat fried chicken,
Yeah.
it's just moving in that direction. The family doesn't know what
Yeah.
to do. They're just scared he won't eat, so they'll just keep giving him fried chicken.
I think kids have changed parenting
Yeah.
because the parents are overcompensating. But that's a story for a different
I
conversation.
think but it is an issue. I think there is an issue about behaviors around food.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And I see parents struggling to fix
Mm.
it.
I feel like sometimes parents are also looking for foods that a child can pick with two fingers. So they end up giving them like nuggets and fries
Uh,
and simple foods because not simple as in simple, processed foods because it's simpler to eat. You know, compared to when we were kids, we ate chicken off the bone. You'd like
yeah,
literally hold the whole chicken and like gnaw off it, right?
yeah,
And you would eat like for instance, fish, and you'd navigate around the bones of the fish.
sure.
So you're using more motor skills and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
more conscious in eating because you need to stay alive and not choke yourself, bite into something that's gonna get stuck between your teeth.
Mhm.
So I feel like the same can be said about corn. If you eat corn off the cob, you are literally biting and turning the cob, right?
Mm.
But if you eat corn in a cup, then it's just a spoonful of corn in your
Sure.
mouth. So the
Mm.
way we eat has changed. As a kid,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to eat like my grandfather had some sugar cane on the boundary of his property, and he would just go out and like cut lengths of it, and he'll just put it in the
And you
fridge.
have to chew it, right?
Yeah, you have to peel it, and then
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
to
yeah.
chew through. And if you're
Yeah.
if you're a bit more rajin, then you cut it into little segments, and then you
Yeah,
chew the
yeah.
segments.
Yeah.
So you not only spend more time eating it, the consciousness of it is there, but it is exercising your gums. You're using your teeth. You are how to say, you're a bit more desperate for that little bit of juice, but now you can
No,
put juice in the mouth.
you have to work for that nutrition.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting
So
because that is actually a problem. Like I've been when I've been involved in sort of food and stuff, I've always been fighting this idea of making juices and shakes, because they're actually
you're
really
blending
bad for you.
everything down.
No,
Yeah.
and you're blending like 4 apples, you know,
Mm,
then you're taking out the fiber, which is the thing that helps is the friction from you from eating too much,
yeah.
and you're eating the sugar coming from 4 apple. It's a
Yeah.
sort of a craziness. It's a madness in a way
I
to
think the
be.
problem is always the hang on, let me just arrange my thoughts. I think the problem comes from people who have limited time trying to be efficient and trying to create systems that
Yeah,
what they perceive is organizing the time.
yeah,
And so they would have all the fruits in the fridge, they would chuck it in a blender, and they would
yeah.
chug it down, and everything else gets washed. And washing
But
sometimes
there's
gets
also
standardized.
I think there's a modern day problem here as
Yeah,
well
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because which is a sort of a capitalist thing in that they want you to eat a juice with 4 apples in it because it's costs more. It
But I feel the convenience of it. For I've done this before, and the
Yeah,
sense that I felt like, okay, the amount of time it takes me to chomp on the apple
yeah,
and finish all the apple
yeah,
for to meet my daily requirement
yeah.
is longer. I have longer dirty hands than if I could just drink it down and just get on my
Yeah, but the
laptop.
trouble is you can't drink 1 apple. It's 4 you have to put
I
2.
understand. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's the
To
problem.
drink four apples is faster than to
Yeah,
chomp down four apples.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I
that's
understand
driven by
what
someone
drove it.
trying to sell you that juice
Yeah.
because, so
Mm,
that's where some problem arises, and
mm.
there's no information around this. People are quite shocked when I describe it to them. It's actually because actually you've been taught to believe that juices are really healthy because they're made from fruits.
It also
Yeah.
it tells a story about cognitive dissonance
Yes, it is. Yeah.
because you are just listening to a TikTok video, you're just watching something on TV,
Sure.
you're just seeing an ad, and you are taking the simplest route to the solution. You're not thinking of you're okay, try it. I've done this before. I've tried it and then felt later that hey, I've thrown out so much fiber. I'm not gonna go bake a cookie and put the fiber in. I just might as well revert to just eating the apple. So I have done these, tried it, questioned it,
I've done it.
revert.
I've done it.
You know?
I remember reading something which, uh, I mean, there was actually a moment a few years ago
Mhm.
where I was a little bit chubbier. And I think, in Malaysia, it's not that difficult to do. There's so much snacks to buy. And the culture is always eat, eat, eat,
Yeah.
finish it, finish it, finish it, so you tend to do that. And I remember thinking that, what was, what was it now? You have to be quite intentional about not eating. I remember oh yeah, that's what it is. I remember reading something that said, okay, I feel like I want to eat a snack. And
Yeah.
then it says to you, so choose an apple. If you don't want an apple, that means you're not hungry. Because if
Yeah.
you're hungry, you will eat that apple.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
I feel
that's
like
actually quite a difficult.
last
Uh,
year I was running around like a mad person because the amount of work and the amount of uncertainty around what needs to be done, what can be done, who are the contractors. I just ate wherever I found there was
yeah,
food.
yeah,
I would just eat.
yeah,
This year, I think I'm a little bit more relaxed, and I
yeah,
feel my eating pattern has changed.
yeah.
And
Okay.
anxiousness does drive the
No
eating
stress.
behavior.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
feel like sometimes we are raised very well, like we eat really well in our parents' house.
yeah,
Then when we go out and we have to all of a sudden have to make all the decisions by ourselves,
yeah,
then we pick the easiest thing to get by,
yeah,
and then that's when it's really bad, our diet's really bad.
yeah.
And then I think when we start to stabilize, then we find better ways, or we question, what are we doing, how are we eating, where are we getting our food source from. And that five people who are our friends do influence our eating because we're eating
Hey, how about
together.
this? Because we also don't understand, we're not actually factoring these things in. Like, for example, our metabolism.
Hmm.
My dad, I think I talked to my dad about it. My dad, apparently I'm just like my dad. We could not get fat. We had to,
Damn, don't tell me that.
at one time. Now can.
Okay.
Okay. At one point cannot. At one point when I was in sixth form, my waistline was 28 inches. And
No,
I remember
not fair.
the matron at the school said, "You really have to eat more." Because
Right.
these English boys are so much bigger.
Yeah.
And then, but and then the other problem was it's actually sometimes hard to find clothes with a 20-inch size waist in the UK.
Hmm.
It's
Children's department.
so it was actually problematic to eat enough. And then now, you know, once on the lips, straight to the hips it's so my metabolism has completely changed.
Yep.
My ideas about food are also completely different. Like, I feel now in my old age that what else have I got? I don't have any other vices. I don't smoke, I don't
Yep.
drink, I don't
Yep.
do drugs, I don't
Yep.
go out,
Yep.
doing crazy shit. The only enjoyable vice left to me is eating.
But you eat really well though.
Yeah, but there was a
I feel
moment
the
when I was
healthiest after going to your place. I eat really well.
but there was a moment when I was just like actually actually consciously thinking, this is the only thing I've got. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy it.
Mm,
Because literally, you're home, and the only bad thing you're doing is actually having another cocktail or another piece of fried chicken or whatever.
mm,
So yeah, so we are actually being pulled in many, many directions about food.
yep.
There's actually very little structured information and knowledge giving about food. Uh,
I think food is to a large sense inherited and influenced. And I think I remember you saying that in your childhood you ate very Western
yeah,
meals, and I think that's cultural for your family.
yeah.
Like for me, because I come from a biracial background, and so in my my dad's mom's place, because it was Indian, you have a lot more I feel like I ate different kind of fruiting vegetables. I ate plantains. I ate
Mm,
banana flour. I ate I guess what do you call that? A bit more rice flour, but steamed in putu.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I ate more fermented-ish kind of food because we had pickles, we had tose, you know. So I had slightly different palate from that
yeah,
as
yeah,
growing up, and I grew up a lot in PJ, so we met that side of the family more.
yeah.
And then when I was in high school, I was in a very Malay town, and I grew up with my mother's side of the family. So that first few years, transitioning the food was a little bit difficult because I also
Mm,
didn't know how to mix the food properly. Because you'd have soup sayur manis with pumpkin, and I'm like,
yeah, I
there's
love
like
that.
a fruit and it's like coconut-ish,
I
I,
love that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
it took a while to like it,
Right.
because I'd eat sayur manis soup for pan mi in
Mm.
KL. And then
Yeah, yeah,
now
yeah,
this
yeah.
pan mi is like soup is sweet, no ikan bilis. So it's like you're changing. It's a
Mm,
profile change. And then I feel like in my mom's parents' house, you'd get more like ikan bakar, which you don't get from the Indian side of the family. So you get
mm,
ikan bakar, um you get like mee rebus. You don't get mee rebus in your Indian side of the family. So the food profile change, your palate changes,
sure.
and then when you become an adult and you go out and you buy food, right? Then you
Yeah.
have like this huge variety that then eating is no longer about nutrition. Eating is about preference and indulgence. And
You
then
know,
you never have that conversation, around why are you eating and how.
so my experience was, I said, we did eat more Western at home, but that was just at home.
Mm,
Outside of the home, for example, at school,
mm,
food was very, very local.
diverse. Yeah.
Nasi lemak, mihun soup. It was
Mm,
all very local,
yeah.
and I ate that for lunch. I would have that for breakfast.
Right.
So there was that. Those, and then also we would we would eat in a diverse way. I mean, we say, "Oh, let's go out and eat," the
Yeah.
Chinese restaurant crab, whatever, or we go to the
Yeah.
banana leaf once a week. So there was actually a lot of diversity in our
Mm,
meals as
mm,
well. We ate what we ate at home, then we ate what we ate at school, and
mm.
on the way home we ate like healthy stuff. Like, remember like you eat a slice of bangkwang with the peanut
Ah,
and
yes, yes, yes. I like.
that's quite good for you. You know,
Oh, then the other thing I realized, on the Malay side of the food spectrum, we had a lot more ulam. So it was a
yeah,
fresh salad. And then we had a lot more like petai. Petai jering, what's the other one? There's another fruit. And then you ate a lot of like nangka. They would cook the nangka, and you eat like Fajri nanas. So these are
sure,
fruits that get cooked into a curry. And then
yeah,
you have keropok and krepek.
yeah.
Keropok is all the fruit base, and the krepek is no krepek is fruit base. That means your potato, your yams, your
Yeah.
potatoes and stuff, pisang. And then your keropok is all your fish and prawn and animal based cracker
Which, incidentally is light years nutritionally from what an
you get
American
now.
no,
Yeah.
what Americans when I went to America and,
Mm.
I was as a working adult and I was meeting, making friends with people who came from Ohio and, all the less fancy states, so to
Okay.
speak. I mean, they grew up with they had what they call box food. They grew up eating macaroni and sometimes
I
if
think
the
that's
mom
the output of the 70s modern
and
cooking.
if mom is really busy, it's cereal
Yeah.
for dinner.
Oh God.
Yeah, or it's a sandwich. you know?
They survived.
Yeah. So comparatively, we actually had quite nutritionally good food. And yet somehow we seem to be able to navigate the portion size, because people were not fat in the 70s in Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
right up to the 80s. This is definitely a shift in income, a shift in availability. Meat
Yep.
became more available and cheaper.
Yep.
Uh, there's a new influx of ideas about what is considered, and then this pleasurable food like pizzas and sandwiches and
Mm.
this kind of thing. Uh, so we keep looping back to the idea that we actually don't know how to eat really now. It's so mixed up now, I think, that
Mm.
it's actually quite difficult to really, really know what is the right way to eat, you know.
Mm.
But having said that, what we're also alluding to about when we talk about our childhood is actually we did eat better in our childhood, in terms of your nutritional diversity.
Mm.
It seemed like portion size seemed to be better managed as well,
Yeah.
Like I said, because I think even the food was not as calorifically dense because I was fat when I was 10 years old because my mom thought it was a great idea to be buying me Western snacks because they
Mm.
thought Western snacks were good for you. Kit Kat bars, potato chips, which is what people eat normally now, right?
Yeah.
And I became a fat kid for a few years, whereas most of my peers were not, that's not how they looked. That's not what they were.
So the three of us, me and my two brothers,
Yeah.
the chubby one was chubby because he just drank a lot of milk.
Oh, milk.
That's it. He was just a milk baby. He just had so much of milk all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. If you look at my childhood pictures, yeah, I wasn't overweight at all. Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So now, okay. So now we have established there's a problem.
Mm.
So what do we do about it? So I say we should. There's a few things we should do. One is actually we should look backwards a little bit. We should take a look and see. We had some answers to all of this.
Yeah.
We actually ate a better mix of diversity. I think I can't find that article, but the World Health Organization actually named Malaysia as one of the top 10 diets in the world because of the amount of veg we ate.
Right.
We didn't eat a lot of meat. We ate, meat was actually uh, cooked with our
Condiment. It was a condiment to
yeah.
the vegetable.
Yeah. It's like a little stir fry with little slices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, like I remember thinking when I first came back to Malaysia in 2010, it seemed more pronounced to me because when I would go out to eat, even if you go out and eat like a Indian restaurant, we would never have that amount of choice on the table.
Yeah.
The ordering would be crazy. There's a chicken curry, there's a fish curry, there's a mutton curry. It's like we would never have that kind of abundance
Yeah.
not that didn't have nice food, but it was just it just seemed more control, right? It was like maybe 2 proteins that everybody had to share, a lot more side dishes and vegetables and stuff like that.
I feel like when I eat in Laiman's house, which is Chinese, could be Cantonese-ish or Teochew style, I feel like the Cantonese dinners typically have soup. So there's always a bowl of soup.
Yeah.
And his aunt will make like salted egg drop in the soup with spinach leaves.
Wow,
Yeah, it's really nice. Like I could just eat that with rice and I'm done.
Yeah.
And then she would make things like salted chicken or something, roasted salted chicken. And I like seriously, that's all I need. I don't need anything else. And then she'd have like a lunch which is tochu porridge. So it's a porridge with like a whole bunch of side dishes. Everything's on the salt spectrum, but they have different textures.
Yeah.
So that consciousness in eating is so much more experiential, because as you're eating something crunchy. There is a peanut that was boiled in the rice. There's an aroma. And I feel like there are these cultural eating patterns that we just take for granted, and then we don't remember what they are anymore
Yeah.
because we've been bombarded by so many innovations on those ideas
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we forget what the original is. And for
Yeah.
example, when we eat yisang in Laiman's house, it's so nice. But we've also eaten yisang outside because we go for client
Which I hate. I
dinners.
hate Isang. I hate Isang. I don't know why. It's so
But
weird.
you've probably not eaten the good ones. So, there was one year I remember looking over to Laiman as I was eating the yisang at a corporate event, and I'm like, it's just freaking rojak lah. Because
Mm.
it didn't
Yeah.
have the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
fish,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
didn't have the pomelo, it didn't have
Mm.
so the ingredients were not right. It didn't have the
Yeah.
what's the other thing? She just put in a fermented vegetable, so it
Oh,
didn't have
nice.
so
Okay.
it didn't have what is technically what is jisang condiments,
Yeah.
you know? And so they just put in whatever substitutes that they feel would work. I mean, Auntie Alice does put carrots for color, because she doesn't buy the colorful keropok. But then you go
Yeah.
somewhere else, they put colorful keropok. So there's
Right.
certain things, right?
Yeah.
We kind of substitute without knowing what it is. Another one is like murtabak. When you eat murtabak, you're supposed to dip it in red onions soaked in vinegar. And that vinegar is supposed to contrast against the meat that you're eating in the murtabak. But if you go to a mamak today, they will give you red onions soaked in rose syrup. And that just doesn't make sense because they don't know how to make it. This murtabak with vinegar and red onions is a very Penang mamak thing. It's
Oh.
not an Indian thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
culturally, they try to copy, but they miss on what is actually the ingredient.
Right.
And I
Right.
think this is the conundrum we are in.
Yeah.
We are substituting it with the wrong things.
And also the other thing is embedded in these old systems of food is actually something we've also lost. Is actually, and some it can be quite confusing as well. For example, like in Ayurvedic food, there is like when I used to go to India and I'd go to eat with the staff of the office there, and then I would say okay, I want this, and they say, oh, I can't eat that. I'm like, why can you eat that? And he said, well, because I was told that I am this body type and I cannot eat lamb or I cannot eat, you know.
Okay. They
It's
follow
much
those.
more yeah, there's a lot more structure to the ideas around food. Same
Yep,
thing with, like, local Chinese food. There's a lot of, this is heaty, this is cooling, you cannot eat
yep.
this with this. Like, when I grew up, I remember, like, the maid would never let me eat pineapple with dairy. It's like you're not supposed to
There are
make.
rules around the
Yeah,
food.
there's a lot of rules, which I don't know how they actually pan out, but they may have had some kind of nutritional wisdom at the core
Or
of
it
it.
could be inflammatory by combination.
True.
Yeah.
True, and now we're sort of if they exist in these very sort of strange set of rules now,
Yep.
about cooling and heating as
Yep.
opposed to actually being systematic nutritional ideas,
Yeah.
which is still kind of evident in some, but it's really disappearing. I don't see, like I hear the Chinese community talk about after a woman is given birth, there is a more pronounced focus on the types of food, right?
Yep.
What do they call that again? It's
Pantang.
yeah. Oh, actually, Malays do that too,
Confinement.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Malay, Indian, Chinese all got confinement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So that one actually, there is a sort of a focus on, oh, you're supposed to eat this balance of things.
Or you are supposed to eliminate certain things from your diet during
Okay.
that period. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense now for me to think about it as an adult. Your whole body changes when you're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Because some people get diabetes when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
Some people get high blood pressure when they're pregnant. And there are parts of your body that consume itself to create something different. And while all of this restructuring is happening, a whole new thing is growing inside, right? So by the time the thing has exited, everything needs to restructure itself again before you become yourself again. And that takes about, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it takes 9 months to deliver, but it takes like 12 months to recover. So that process, that 12 plus 9 plus 12 that whole time the body is changing. And technically, your whole diet between 9 plus 12 should also be somewhat catered to this process of change. But we
Mm,
don't, because of our life today, and again, we are indulgent in terms of like what we miss and what we feel like eating. It it affects our recovery. But because most people have kids when they are quite young, they don't really feel it. They don't really feel the strain. They don't really feel the maybe the deficiencies. But it does show up later. They may get diabetic earlier. They may get high blood pressure earlier because the body had not fully recovered from those processes. And in some cases, people are having children back to back each year. So the body's not recovered. They're going down that 9 month cycle again, and then they're coming out the 12 month cycle again, and then they're bumping in the third child. So there's a lot of things that I guess there's some is knowledge and some is cultural and some is survival,
mm.
that we choose what we take on and we choose what we ignore. And I think, yeah, as we learn more and more about the human body and lifestyle, and we reverse engineer our eating based on what is resources available to us in terms of time, in terms of access, in terms of
Mm.
putting back seasonality in our eating,
Yeah,
I
I think
think
that's
you
another
will
thing. I
see
think,
different things.
let's end on this sort of like, how do we fix this, right?
Mm,
First of all, you need to know that it needs fixing. We kind of have to
yeah,
be some cognition about
yeah,
that. Hey, we've lost our way nutritionally, and
yeah,
how do you fix it?
yeah.
But the fixing of it is also difficult. I don't know about you, but I find it difficult to be like, for example, I want to eat more plant
It
based.
requires research for sure.
Not even that. It actually
Yeah.
needs some kind of will as well. I mean, like,
Yes.
for example, I want to eat more plant-based, right? But
Yeah.
on those days, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm hungry." It's
Yeah.
like I feel like I don't have that sort of mouthfeel or the contentment that I would get from
Right. Right. Right.
eating
The
eating
fats.
protein twice a
Yeah.
day or stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really have to think about, oh, today I'm just going to eat uh, some pulses, an egg, uh, and then I've actually, and then I find some solutions. For example, I quite often now don't just cook rice in the rice cooker. I also put in lentils,
Yeah.
barley,
Yeah.
so it's actually more complex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, things like that.
Yeah.
Actually, intentionally saying I must have a plant-based day
You're right. Right.
or two half-day plant-based.
So my mom, right?
Yeah,
Although she's culturally Malay,
yeah.
her food system is what she cooks is typically leaning towards the Indian side. So
Yeah, but your mom is also quite complex. Like, she's got some Thai, she got some, yeah, it's like it's not
yeah,
really
yeah,
that
yeah.
straightforward, right?
But so she will we every house we plant the muringai tree, right? And
What's that?
because it drumstick,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so she will
moringa.
always, she will always like pluck some of the leaves and soak it in the rice and boil it up with the rice. Or
Oh,
she will put some stuff in the rice. So her rice is never really plain, and
yeah,
sometimes she puts saffron. And she's just been doing this for so long. It
yeah.
becomes for us it's like quite normal. So when we don't live with her, it feels like, oh, like, rice is so plain,
Uh,
because she does it. She does it like she doesn't even think
yeah.
about it anymore. It's just her
Actually,
thing.
okay, that's interesting
Yeah.
because I do that because I sell herbs and flowers. So if
Mm.
I have a little bit left over, that's my vegetable. I chop it up and stir it in my
Yeah.
rice, or
Yeah.
it's more than a garnish. It's very
Yeah.
heavy because I have a lot of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and a lot of it's quite nutritious. Some of it's like quite densely nutritious. Um, but yeah, I think you have to actually stop and think about fixing, how to fix.
I'm also thinking about what you just said.
Yeah,
So because you grow these things in your garden, and my
yeah,
mom has a moringai
yeah,
tree
yeah.
garden. For people who live in apartments, I think this would be a
It's
big,
hard. Yeah, hard.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
they
also even
literally have to buy in everything.
people who don't live in apartments are also doing some crazy shit. They're growing salad vegetables and vegetables, hard to grow vegetables, which actually have very low quality nutrition,
Mm,
and they're not eat. The vegetables I grow have no effort whatsoever. I grow sayamanis, moringa,
mm.
and Brazilian spinach. You
Right.
don't have to do nothing to those things. They are just growing themselves, and
Self-seeding self, yeah.
and they're incredibly nutritious, and I
I,
just
I
make
know
sure.
I know people who do microgreens in their apartment houses, but it's seed density, and it requires certain kind of
It's a lot
light.
of work, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but
and I don't know.
they try, and I feel
Yeah,
like I cannot buy into that for yeah. I
yeah.
just feel like there's
I
something
mean,
something
I'm
weird in that.
also alluding to the fact that, sometimes, this Sayamanis and Moringa is actually very old school. It's really reverting to some very old ideas because, in a way, that's what we used to do. We just used to have it in the garden. We
Yeah,
would have a couple of trees. And now you actually can't buy those vegetables in a supermarket. You
yeah,
actually have to go to a pasar pagi to
yep,
even see that vegetable.
yep,
You
yep,
know,
yep,
you're more likely to see a French bean and a carrot in a supermarket than you
yep.
would sweet leaf.
Periyakiti, the small bitter gourd.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the
So
big bitter gourd, but you don't see the
yeah.
small ones.
So I think you actually have to be intentional.
Yeah,
You have to think about nutrition, diversity. Another one is things like complex carbohydrate. We are eating so many processed carbohydrates. I'm just saying because it's hard to buy it. You
yeah.
know, it's hard to buy bread with. It's like it's that's nice. It's just one of those things. Um, so there is definitely an intentionality involved, and then if you have a family and then you're working your time, it becomes that much more difficult.
Mm,
So
yeah.
quite complicated, quite complicated. So you tend to revert to easy solutions. Uh, you also because it's a lot of thinking to figure this stuff out as well. You know,
And I think it helps when you do it with people that you have common values with, because as you're doing it, you're exploring and you're experimenting and
yeah,
you're cooking for each other
yeah.
and you're
No,
trying
but
it.
what's
Yeah.
interesting is when you tell me about you and Lyman, because that's actually not quite that. It's actually you're both of you are quite diverse, and because you're diverse, you actually create a maybe an unintentional balance that's quite good, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You're telling
But
me
he's
that
very Indian inside. He likes a lot of Indian food. I'm the one like, no, we could have curry like 2 days in a row.
that's true. Huh? He does like Indian food,
It's
yeah,
very
and you
Indian.
like Chinese food, yeah,
Yeah, I guess because it's something that we didn't have in general growing up, so it's
yeah,
something that you look forward to. And I think Lyman's aunt is just she's just she's too good. She's too good. Like her standards are
right,
there, and everything else is
yeah.
like here. So you're trying to reach that.
But your brain is so much part of your eating. For example, when I lived in New York, a lot of my brain activity is that how am I going to eat my Malaysian food because it's like I miss it.
Mm,
I have to actually actively think, oh, I need to go down to Chinatown. I have to buy that ingredient. I have to
yeah,
go and eat at the Malaysian restaurant. I want to eat this Asian food because all I have access to is just very, sandwiches and pizzas and stuff like that,
yeah.
which is okay. But I don't want to eat that all the time. Here, it's actually the opposite. I have so many choices of all these local foods that I'm actually missing a really good pasta and tomato
Yes,
sauce,
yes,
a simple grilled chicken.
yep,
I just want to eat like a nice brunch with like a free range egg and a sourdough toast, and I can't get
right,
that.
right, right,
So
right,
those are the things that I have to go and consciously go and look for
right, right, right.
to make for myself if I
Yep,
want it. You know.
yep,
So I have to create systems of. So I will. I actually I'll go to like the Kid Mart, that big market.
yep.
Did we go there together when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
came?
yeah. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
And I actually look for things like, like tomatoes will go down in price to some, they fluctuate so widely now. Like it's like 8 ringgit a kilo, and then
yeah,
sometimes it's 2 ringgit a kilo.
yeah, yep.
That's crazy. So when it's 2 ringgit a kilo, I will buy 5 kilos of tomatoes, come back and cook a big batch of tomato sauce. I put and freeze it, in containers,
Mm,
and then I will add a protein to it, and
right.
so So in Chirating, you're eating out all the time, right? I remember you saying.
A lot more when my mom's not around. Yeah, if my mom's around, then I get like cooked food, like home cooked food every few days.
You go to a
Oh,
place to eat?
and Vanessa cooks as well. So if Vanessa comes over, then she makes dinner.
Who's Vanessa?
My friend who owns the shop,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
veggie
yeah, yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if Vanessa's cooking, then I cook rice or I make a salad or something like that, and then she
And
cooks.
then Lyman also cooks, right?
And Lyman also cooks. Yeah.
Yeah,
I prep and clean. Yeah.
yeah,
I store all the food.
yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's the limitation of my time. My time here, lah.
And just to end on just like some crazy modern stuff, like, there's all these crazy TikTok things now,
Like
you
what?
know, how to, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes you see it and go, oh, that's quite interesting. I don't know. They're making all these crazy dishes by
I don't
mixing
know.
this.
I feel like sometimes the crazy dishes look nice on video. I've never really
Maybe, yeah,
tried them,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't know if they're really that good. Yeah.
Well, what I mean is some people are actually following it. I'm not, but I think some people
Right.
are actually, going through with this.
Nice. Interesting.
And then there's also this sort of social media culture of driving interest in certain kinds of food, going to this restaurant, this viral thing,
Right.
this
Right.
viral restaurant, so
Right.
we're being pushed and pulled into ideas about eating
Yeah.
without any pushback. No one say, hey, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a problem. We don't have
I think
baselines.
it's still, again, it's driven by the reward yourself mindset. It's driven by the this money can buy me the best. So I
Yeah.
must go for the best. And I am watching a review that is saying that this is the best. Now I have five the best things that I need to try. So I'm
Mm,
gonna go through them one by one.
yeah.
And it's no longer a need to eat, it's a want to eat. So then it just
Yeah.
goes
And then,
overboard.
we don't know what's going on the other side. In New York, I had a friend who was a chef, and he had a small restaurant in upstate New York. And
Mhm.
at one time, we shared a loft space for a while before he was going up there. So he would cook, and I would watch him cook, and I was like, "Holy shit! Is that how much butter you put in mashed potato? It's a
Yeah.
lot."
He probably put more than he needed to, but okay.
No, because he says that's what you do in a restaurant.
Right.
Because in a restaurant, everything must taste that much better, that much richer.
Yeah.
It's like, so when you're eating out, you are actually someone else
Indulging
is
a lot.
controlling,
Mm.
making choices that sometimes are really, really bad for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, okay, I think we're up at an hour. So
Nice.
I just wanted to this chat because it's actually quite vast and
I mean, it's hard. It's hard, even for me. I think I tried having this conversation some years ago, and then lifestyle has changed. I've
yeah,
moved
yeah,
to a different location,
sure,
so
sure,
then my resources also change.
sure,
Then I've got to re-navigate this conversation again, and then like
yeah,
now, for the first time in a long time, I bought was that I bought dal, like uncooked dal. So 2 months ago I bought rice. Now I'm buying dal. So my veg
right, right.
is
No, no,
expect.
but that's what I mean. You need to be quite intentional about using
Yeah.
it. Like I buy a whole bunch of pulses,
Yep.
and I have to go. Okay, tonight I'll put the
Soak
chickpeas
this out.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that tomorrow I can cook it,
Yeah.
and then I will freeze 2/3 of it and eat 1/3
Right.
today.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you actually have to think about these things.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen because otherwise you won't. It's like,
No,
oh,
and like
shit,
here, I can't even buy in Strating. So I bought my
really? Yeah?
dal in KL on the way out. I'm sure
Oh,
I can find it in
wow.
Kuantan, but it was just convenient to buy it in
Sure,
KL because
sure.
I knew the shop. I knew where to buy, I knew what I wanted. So I just did my
Isn't
grocery
isn't the
shopping.
sort of casual food a little better, like at the Warongs and stuff? Is it
Uh,
not better? Because I
the,
thought I don't know about
the
Pahang, but
challenge is that in Kampong Lama Cherating, it is a tourist little town, a tourist little,
okay,
kampong.
okay, okay.
So some of the warongs are not there because they serve good food and survive long
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
just there
They're
because,
just servicing a tourist. Yeah,
yeah, and yeah. I've come to a point where I actually eat in one or two places only in this whole kampong,
yeah.
because the rest of it is just kind of like I question the hygiene, or I question like the quality of the food, or yeah, something lah. Yeah. So I only eat in two places really here.
Yesterday, my gardener brought some food for me.
Mm.
He's so sweet. The wife is always giving me a little bit of food, and it was a chicken curry.
Mm.
And it was too much for one meal, so I split it. I had half of it last night, and I'm
Right.
saving the other half. And I was eating the chicken. I was like, "What is up with this chicken? It's like so much bigger and tougher, and the cartilage and stuff like that." I asked her, "What is this? What is this chicken? What is this meat?" It's a kampung chicken. Kampung chicken is
Oh.
not really nice. It's like really
Yeah, hardy.
has like really
Gamey.
chewy and
Mm.
but and then I thought, all this cartilage must be really good for you. It's a lot of collagen,
Yeah.
So, okay.
Cool.
All right. Good talking to you. I shall
Yep.
talk to you again soon. I'm glad to see
Okay.
get better with your teeth thing.
Yes. Cool beans.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.